Great conversation we're going to have today about smearing that lovely not thing that narcissists do. Nearly all of them do. Just going to wait for a few of you to jump on. Much cooler day here in Melbourne today. Let me know where you are from in the world. Okay, and we've got some people coming in. And we're going to have a conversation about smearing. And I am very happy to tell you that the technical issues with these lives being saved to YouTube are now sorted. I'm virtually 99.9% confident that we're not going to have a problem anymore. So just let me know you can hear and see me okay. All right. Let me know that you can hear and see me okay. Because the chat at the moment, I'm not seeing. Yes, Lisa, thank you. Awesome. That's awesome. Brilliant. Brilliant. How are we all doing today? Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're okay. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So who here has experienced the smearing from a narcissist, or maybe you're going through it right now? Because it's so common. It's what? Hi, Faye. Joshi from India. Oh, yes, says Doralyn. Yeah, it's really common. They all do it to varying degrees, but yes, it kind of seems to be that way, doesn't it? Okay. So smearing, smearing can be really covert and it can be overt. But smearing is very painful. And it's so unjust, because narcissists, the things that they say, well, they can be complete half-truths. They could be things that were never meant to be shared with people. And they can absolutely be whopping great pathological lies. So let's have a look at why narcissists smear, because this can help with the understanding of why they do it. A narcissist as a false self is not going to take responsibility for their part in things. They have an actual mechanism disordered in their brain that is the exact opposite of humility. And humility is, okay, I can look at myself, I can say sorry, I can accept responsibility, I can be accountable, and I can atone, I can make amends, I can change my behavior to change my life. Whereas a narcissist is terminally stuck in the very opposite of that, which is, roller girl, love to you too, which is literally, I am God, I am above reproach, my narrative must be adhered to, and my version of life is all that is. That's the narcissist's disordered self, which is the very opposite of teamwork, humility, honesty, integrity. And then what happens is when somebody in their life, especially the close supply, decides that I am not going to just be the yes person, I am going to challenge you, I am going to say no, I'm not going to agree with you, and I'm going to call out your BS because it's very painful and it's abusive and it's damaging, and I'm going to call you out, the cracks are going to really start appearing in the relationship. You're starting to go through those cycles of, it started off with idolize, where everything was rosy and everybody was agreeing with the narrative of the narcissist, where you were. They were never getting challenged. They had it their way. They were getting supply. So that's the idolize, the honeymoon stage. And then you have the devalue stage where you start to go, hang on a minute. Wasn't that a lie? That's not a nice perception. What you just said there was really quite degrading. I don't agree with that. The way you view the world, do you really think like that? And then you're going to start going through the devalue process because you are disagreeing with the narcissist narrative. You are saying you are not above reproach, you are not God, and there's things here that are not right, which is a huge narcissistic injury to the narcissist's ego. So you're already starting to come down off the pedestal of idolization into the narcissist starting to position you as the enemy. And this is where the abuse starts and the gaslighting and working on your wounds to try to get you to hand over your opinion and your rights and your boundaries, to try and crush you, trick you, manipulate you, gaslight you into handing away your rights and your opinions and your values to just shut up and go along. So you get to a point where we get to discard. And discard is for a variety of reasons. You either leave, or the narcissist, because they've emptied you out and there's no more to get, or you're becoming too ill where you need attention and you need energy, which heaven forbid, because you're the prop. You're the tool to feed the narcissist. It's not the other way around. They will discard you. Or they're going to discard you for a time while they're trying out other supply, and they might toggle you with that supply, but you're being discarded all the same. And this is when the smearing happens, and it's already happening in the devalue phrase, because the narcissist is always going to blame you. You are wrong. The false self is very black and white. The false self is the narcissist's inner master. And it's very black or white. You're either fabulous or you're a disgrace to the narcissist. They don't have the human mature nuance, which is human maturity of, I may not like you at the moment, but I still love you. And we're having a disagreement, and we don't have to agree, but we can be mature enough to find a solution that works for both of us. That's a mature solution-based relationship. You don't have that with a narcissist. You are either marching to their drum and agreeing with their narrative, or you deserve to be punished. Part of the punishment is not just degrading you, guilting you, telling you you're mental, you're a nutcase, you have issues, you've brought in stuff from your past, you're paranoid, you're this, you're that, you're other, you got it wrong. All of the invalidation you get. There is also smearing that will happen behind your back. And this is already happening in the devalue phrase. They are already setting up the narrative with others that you're the problem, you're the one with the issues, and they are the poor person that's having to go through what's happening because of you. Are you relating to this? All right, I just want to say to you people, please like and share this video. Get it out to people who have been really struggling with being smeared so they can understand the deeper reasons about what is really going on here. Because it's mental, it's so confusing, and the biggest thing that hits people's hearts is the injustice and how disgusting it is that somebody who professed to care about you and love you has got the capacity to say such horrible things about you. Okay? It's heartbreaking. It's soul destroying until you understand, first of all, why they do it. And why they do it is because the false self, the narcissist's inner construct, their false self, is so insecure that it has to be right. People that have to be right are very insecure. And there's very little inner substance there. This is why they can't have a conversation. This is why they can't look at a different point of view. This is why they can't take on other people's opinions and viewpoints. So when somebody is canceling you rather than hearing you, then it is madness. And it comes from a very insecure, disordered point of view or an agenda. Okay? Because they're steering you down a particular path and a way of thinking and the reality to get what they want, which is to exploit you. And that's what narcissists do. So it's a threat for you to start questioning things. They're going to stop you doing it. And then what happens is, because you are not feeding the false self adequately and going along with it, you're going to be positioned as the enemy, and they're going to start smearing you. And they're setting up the narrative, which is you, because they know. They know. At some level, narcissists are very intelligent. They know the writing's on the wall. And what they need to do is to cover their tracks, and they need to be right, and they need to not just maintain the false self narrative of I'm right at all costs, like I would rather die than be wrong. They also need the environment to believe their version of things, to be able to still operate within that environment, which means that you need to be wrong. You need to be smeared. And narcissists are amoral, which means they know they lie. They don't care that they lie. You need to understand that. They lie. And they don't care that they lie. Because to them, the ends justifies the means. I lie to control the narrative so that I can be safe, so that I can have my version of things. So therefore, the lies are fine. That's how narcissists operate, because we get really blown away and spun out by the lies. How can they say that? How can they do that? Because they just do. And it's helpful to understand that, because then it's not as personal. It's just what narcissists do. Now, the kind of spooky thing about it is a narcissist, because they are a disordered self and they're plasticine. They don't have a true inner being that is set in foundational awareness and the reality of right or wrong. That's fiction and that's fantasy, which is what a solid inner self just knows. They don't know any of that. It's kind of plasticine. So when a narcissist tells themselves a particular narrative a few times over, to them it's true. That really is, because the reality is, the narcissist world, the whole world is a fantasy world anyway. None of it's based in reality. Does this make sense? So they're telling other people all of these shocking things about you, and the problem is because a lot of these people are just good, decent, everyday, normal people. Yeah, they've got their stuff, but they're just normal, everyday people. They don't think like a sociopath. So if somebody looks them in the eyes with, this, because narcissists are brilliant actors and actresses, and can tell them full of feeling and passion or, sensitivity, or this story about you with all of this explicit little minute and detail in it, virtually everybody is going to believe it. They're going to believe it. And honestly, this is where you've got to understand the whole thing about flying monkeys. And honestly, you can't blame them. It's propaganda. Propaganda is brilliant. And so, they're going to believe the narcissist narrative and version of things because it looks really real. Oh, we've got a cat with her tail in the camera. Do not knock over the phone. you little cheeky thing. Okay. Now, what do you do? Because I know you feel terrorized and horrified, and so much of it is narcissists, because how the brain wiring works is whatever, they will not accept anything wrong or bad about themselves, because that would just crash their whole false construct, which is really insecure. And it's based on fantasy and illusions. I'm wonderful, I'm amazing, I'm this, I'm that. And it's a false self. So it's a house of cards. And if they admitted there was something wrong with themselves, their whole illusion, their whole fragile false self would just crash to pieces. So they can't do it. So what happens is when they're accused of something or trying to be held accountable, the person that's doing it to them, they will spin it and blame them for exactly what they've done. So you're the liar. You're the one that's a false self. You're the gold digger. You're the one who's run off with all of the money. You're the one that's had affairs. Have you heard all of this? I know you have. And it's gut-wrenching because you know you didn't do it. You know you didn't do it. And you know they do it. But it doesn't matter how much you stand there and you try to convince the narcissist, mirror, mirror, look in the mirror. It wasn't me, it was you. And you try to run around to everybody else, trying to shake them and bash their head against a wall and say, see the truth. And even when you show them the evidence, they still don't believe you. People that you never thought would turn their back on you don't believe you. And I promise you, you're not alone. I can't tell you in the last 13 years how many thousands of times I've heard the same story. People that you thought were your best friend, your own family, your own children. Now we have to ask ourselves, why are we all having that experience? And why have some people been able to get up and out of it? Even when they've had authorities, family, their kids alienated, lost their jobs because of smearing, their whole lives have been ripped to shreds. Mine was, and so many of them have. And how have people been able to turn it around 180 degrees? Because that's the real conversation. So that we can recover from this. And how have people who've been carrying the trauma for 20 years about being smearing, and they lost their communities, their families and their kids, the narcissists out of their life, galloped off into the sunset like a wrecking ball, continuing on their life, but they're stuck inside their houses alone, they're depressed, they feel like they can't trust humans or humanity, they've lost everybody, and they're still in that place, whether it be 6 months later, 3 years, 40 years. How do people get out of that to get their lives and their souls back? Because that's the real conversation. And they're the conversations I want to have. So that we're not just surviving this, we're in our houses afterwards carrying the trauma of that forever, that we get our lives and our souls back, not just to where it was, to a far greater superior level than it was even before that happened. Let me share with you my story about smearing, if you don't know it. I was smeared by the narcissistic ex-husband to all and sundry, that I apparently had affairs and all the other things. You know how it goes. And his family, my family, my mother I had the house I bought, I'd escaped from. Of course, the most horrible things had happened. My mother believed him so much that she was around doing his ironing for him while I was on the run with my son. So it was very convincing. And there was a big period of time my son believed, my work colleagues believed. I had the real estate agent kicking me out of the place where I had my workplace. I had my accountant drop me and run. I had my best friend join into a business with a narcissist. I had one person left in my life. That was it when it all happened. And of course, like most people, I was horrified. I was mortified by the smearing. I went around to people's houses. I showed them emails. I showed them proof. I showed them a forged check where he had taken $30,000 out of my account and forged my signature. And nobody believed me. Nobody. And I literally felt like I was going to die. He was stalking. He was threatening. The police didn't believe me. They thought, as he said, that I was a jealous ex who couldn't handle the fact he'd moved on, and I was making all these insane accusations. And the police told me that if I didn't stop, that they would arrest me. And a lot of them are amazing actors. I'm not alone. My story is not Robinson Crusoe. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this, if not worse. But the bottom line is I thought I was going to die. What I discovered was after my breakdown and my breakthrough to realize the truth about quantum healing, so within, so without, and that he was one of the greatest soul lessons in my life for me to take back my power, heal and up level and connect to a source self true connection. What I realized was I had always had persecution programs. I had, even from a little girl, if I got accused of something, I would cry. I'd be horrified. I'd be devastated. I always wanted people to think of me as a good person, as a nice person. It broke my heart if somebody thought I wasn't. And I know a lot of you can relate to this. And I'd always been very, very aware of trying to please people and trying to prove to them that I was a good person, that I had integrity, that I was nice, that I had their best interests at heart. And I was doing it in my family. And I was doing it in my friendships. And I was doing it at work. And there was a lot of times in my life where rather than saying no, I would say yes. And this trauma of horror and terror about what other people thought about me was eating me alive. And when I did quantum freedom healing, when I discovered quantum freedom healing, and when I turned inward to work on those parts of me that were so disintegrated over this smearing, what I found was massive traumas from my childhood of the fears of punishment, massive traumas in my subconscious from past lifetimes about persecution and being put to death because I was persecuted. And these were literal survival programs where the fear of persecution felt so huge, I actually felt like I was dying. So what happened was I opened up, I breathed into these terrors and traumas and distraughtness, and I loaded it up and I released it and I brought in source to replace it. And what happened was those feelings left me. And what came in was this solidness, this soul solidness of, I know who I am. I know Source loves and approves of me and knows who I am. For the first time in my life, I don't feel like a child needing to please or keep the peace or get approved of to feel safe. I actually just feel safe inside of me, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't saying or doing or thinking of me. I just feel safe. And then what happened was nothing short of a miracle. People came to me and apologized. The police rang me up and said, we need to come and see you. And we said, we caught him out stalking you. He'd been lying. You were right. My accountant ended up saying, I've discovered that he is ripping me off. He's done the wrong thing. You were right. My son returned to me. My parents apologized to me. And I swear to you, it's not because I was going around there shaking them. It's because I was at home starting to recover my soul and my life, knowing I'm free. I know who I am. And I cannot tell you the amount of people in this community, because virtually everybody goes through these horror of persecution programs in regard to a narcissist. And when the inner work is done, I cannot tell you how many people, when it gets solid and whole on the inside, everything starts to shift. And yes, there are people that never came back into my life. And you know what? They were people that probably should never have been in my life. And there were other people that were still around my life who still kind of judged me and were still not seeing me how I now saw me, and I let those people go. And as I walked forward, I was able to be in experiences with life where, rather than saying yes when I meant no, and rather than people pleasing because I was scared of the fears of crap, criticism, rejection, abandonment, or punishment for being myself, I could just be honest and be myself. And my life started to fill with people who reflected back to me as much acceptance and appreciation for me that I started having for me. So I want you to know that the persecution program, the smearing side of this with narcissists, is off the Richter scale. It's one of the most horrifying, horrific things you will ever go through. But in that big, black, dark cloud, there is the most amazing silver lining where finally you come home to yourself. If you know how to use a process and a powerful way to do it. And those of you already working with NARP and doing quantum freedom healing, I know that you know what I'm talking about because you're going through that experience. And those of you working with quantum freedom and NARP, if you haven't yet realized that you can deeply work on those persecution programs, I want you to understand you can. You can target the trauma in your body, generating this horror of what other people think about you. That's all you have to say. Feel it, load it up, module 1, half an hour of work to sit there with a recording Open your body, breathe, follow the instructions. Because after that shift, and it may take 1, it may take 5, but after that shift, you won't give a flying quack what anybody else is saying about you. You won't. And it's when you don't that they stop doing it. I want to give you hope. I want to give you more than hope. But more than hope, I want to give you your power back to know that regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing, you can change you, which changes your life. We can't control the other 8.5 billion people on the planet. That's where the illusion and the delusion has been. We can only shift and change ourselves, and then everything changes. And I want to tell you guys about something really exciting because I've just released this. And it's a completely free resource that is going to change your life. And what it is, it's a 2-part masterclass. And I actually did an amazing interview with Mind Valley today about this because we've been approached by them to actually share it with their community, which is huge. And what it is, let me just get it up for you. Okay, here it is here. And it's brand new. It's a 2-part masterclass that I've created, and it's free. And it's called Recover, Heal, and Thrive After Being Narcissistically Abused. And in this, it's really in depth, and it's going to help you so much. In this, I explain what is going on within you once you've been abused by a narcissist. So it's going to demystify all of the, oh my God, like I've been hit by a bus and what the hell even was that bus? Okay, it demystifies it and makes you know exactly what is going on with you physiologically, chemically, emotionally, spiritually, and why it is such a white hot mess and what they've done to you. And then it's going to take you through a free healing with me, which is exactly what I'm talking about, the quantum freedom healing part of this. Oh, thank you for loving my hair. That's so sweet. Thank you. So it's going to take you through that healing process about how you get the trauma out and how you get your source self connection in to recover from this for real. Not just to merely survive, but thrive more than you ever have in your whole life. Piece by piece by piece. In a gentle, loving, powerful succession. Okay, so I really want you to check it out. So where you can go to is the link. Have a look in the show notes. It's there. healrecoverthrive.com. Sorry, recoverhealthrive.com. And it's in the show notes. So just click on it and you'll be able to go to it. Okay. You're going to get so many answers. And the thing is too, in this free healing, I promise you, you will feel relief straight away. Like you'll go, oh my God, what just happened there? I feel better. And you will know there's more than hope for you. Okay. All right, guys, do you have any questions about the smearing? How do you find the show notes? Go to the description of this video. Okay. It's in there. All right. So let me know if you've got any questions about smearing. You are so welcome, Lapatra. narcissistic mum, 2 alcoholic dads, and more. So you've definitely been steeped in it. You've been in the trauma of narcissistic abuse. And more, you are so welcome. This is going to help you so much. Did you find a lawyer that understood narcissistic abuse? They did. No, I didn't. Back then, I had to do the whole thing myself. But I will say this, when I was steeped in all of the trauma, all of the lawyers were wrong. Nobody helped me. So within, so without. It wasn't until I got aligned that police and everything started falling into place for me. Because when we're still in the trauma, the lawyers you get are just going to traumatize you more. How do you deal with a smear campaign that is on social media with a... Oh, it's going too quick. How do you deal with a former channel partner? I'm doing my own thing on my own channel and it's 1,000 times harder than it should be. Yeah, well, as I said, when you heal you, when you no longer care, when there's no longer any energy on it, it starts dissolving, and or you'll know how to do a boundary. You'll know how to deal with it in a way that can generate it ending in your life. This is how this stuff works. Because when we need to understand with the quantum world and with the world, we're our outer universe, if you like, when the inner universe gets on a particular program, all the synchronicity, miracle, permutations, everything, inspirations, messages, everything you need starts coming into your sphere in the hologram for you to access and use. That's how the quantum world works. But when we're in the bandwidth of the trauma, the only things that you get in as far as thoughts and feelings and things showing up into your field are in the bandwidth of the trauma. That's why nothing changes. Okay. When you get the shift, the solutions are now available. So that is 100% what I would suggest for your experience, no matter what. Okay, let's just see. Catherine, you know, Mel, I've listened to many, many hours of you sharing your truths, and this has to be the most powerful sharing talk I've ever heard from you. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I'm just letting it all hang out now, Catherine. I'm just going to go straight from the heart and the soul. Thank you for that beautiful compliment. Love and light to you too, darling. Yeah. That's gorgeous. All right, everybody. So let me just make sure that it's a new link and my team set it up. I just want to make sure that I've got it completely and utterly right for you. I'm just going to get because I'm pretty sure it's in the show notes. I know the team were putting it up, but if not, just so you can go straight to that link, check it out. And as I said, it's a completely free resource, this 2-part masterclass. And there's a lot of stuff in it for you to really help you. And whether or not you go further into my healing program or not is completely up to you. And you're going to get a lot out of the masterclass anyway, whether or not you do. Of course, I'd love you to go with NARP and take it further, but it's completely up to you. Of course it is up to you. All right, let's have a look. Let me get the link. I'm really bad with links. I'm just not where is it? Can one of my team, if you are actually in this, can you please put up the right link for us? Because I'm pretty sure it is recoverhealthrive.com. Check that out, please, somebody, and tell me and see if it works. I should just do that, shouldn't I? recoverhealthrive.com. But it's in the show notes. Okay. I'm going to just try it. recoverhealthrive.com. Yes, it's recoverhealthrive.com. Please check it out. Yeah, so Grace, you did the masterclass in 2020 and then I started now. This is a brand new masterclass. So the thing is too, those of you who have even done my masterclass work and other work, you're still going to get a lot out of this. Okay. You're still going to get a lot and a super boost of healing even out of this masterclass, even if you've done all my other stuff. So I really do suggest it to you. Okay. Even you NARPers. And let me know what you think of it. Let me know how you feel about it. All right. Beautiful. Okay. Are those enough? Yes, they are. And those of you who are NARPing, those of you who are NARPing, come into the NARP forum. I don't know if you know, but the NARP forum, which is part of NARP, the forum is amazing. Any help, any healing, any holding of your hand, it is just so, so powerful. I cannot recommend it enough. So it's melanietoniaevans.com/member for those of you who are Gold NARP members. Get your butt in there. The angels, the help in there, I can't even put the words into the support and the answers and the solutions and the direct help that you get there is just crazy good. So please reach out and go in there, okay? And you get all of that with NARP. It's 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for life. You've got that support. It is wonderful support there. Thank you, BNAS, for saying that. It's just incredible. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump off. Thank you for listening today. And let's heal from persecution. You know what? They're not worth it. They are not worth you not knowing who you are and being free to be yourself. They're not worth it. And actually, you know who? They've pushed us to that place where we need to come into our soul source connection, where your greatest liberation, joy, expansion, power, confidence, and success is. So let's grab it with both hands and make it through. All right, everybody. I love you so much. And thank you for joining me today. Have an awesome day. Mwah! Lots of love. Bye-bye.